Is that coffee done yet?
Almost. Hold on here. I don't know if I'm crying because coffee with HDR is coming on or if it's the smoke from the fire. But yeah, it'll be done here in a minute.
Good, because I got to have a couple of cups of coffee before I start watching Morning Coffee with HDR.
Huh? I agree with that one.
Good morning, folks. Road Glide Andy, Mrs. Road Glide Andy,
Mrs. McStash.
Mr. McStash.
and you're watching Coffee
Coffee with
with
HDR.
HDR.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Coffee with HDR. I want to thank the four camping crew there. They were both sending me intros at the same time, so I did some fantastic editing there and put those puppies together. But I tell you what, man, it's always nice to get some great intros sent in here to the studio. So, good morning once again. It's Coffee with HDR, show number 124 for this fine Saturday morning, March 27th, 2023. And we are back in the saddle again. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. And Mrs. HDR said this morning, who are you supporting today? Well, let's take a look here. We are supporting Mr. Where's he at? Mr. McStash. Woo! Yeah, good morning, Mr. McStash. I'm sure you're in there this morning after sending me that very fine intro with Roguelite Andy and both of your wives there. So it's wonderful to have you on board there with us this morning. Let's go up here. We're going to start our good mornings. Roguelite Andy is listening. He's hard at work repairing the big rigs to get his drivers back home. Good morning, Bob Nelson. Captain Ed, WS Keys on 3. Good morning to Debbie, who is my sister. Everybody say good morning to Debbie or Mallory. Let's see here. Good morning to Judy. Nice to have you on board there with me this morning. Good morning to, let's see, who we got? Goofy Bastards in there this morning in the house. Good morning. Pete's Moto Adventure. Nice to have you on board there with us this morning. I got something in the mail from Pete's Moto Adventures. I'll have to show that to you. Toby Northern, good morning to you. Or Northern Adventures. Dawn on the Run. Got you in there. Paul, good morning. Great crew there this morning. And as always, turning out there for the Coffee with HDR show. Payne's Rides, Boldine's Adventures, who sometimes forgets to change his channel name before getting on this show. But that's okay. We enjoy having both of them in here every Saturday morning. We got Will. Good morning to Will, the Dusty Chronicles. Harley Cruiser 66. Good morning from Maine. We were in Maine and we absolutely love Maine. How can you not love Maine if you read any Stephen King books? Who lives in Bangor? Good morning, Bodine 52's in the house now. Good morning to the Badgers, YouTube world. Hope you have a great weekend. And Badgers, thank you for your continued support to motorcyclists across this great nation. Man, we do support all your hard efforts. Dawn on the Run. Too bad it's raining continuously this morning. That's not nice. Ricky KM, Jarvis Biker from Canada. Hey, how you doing up there in Canada this morning? Let's see there. And Larry Mullins, and I'm sure we're getting more in there. Payne's Rides, good morning. It's going to be a fine weekend for riding. Heading towards Vermont with Mrs. Payne on the Vic today. And we'll be playing in the dirt with my crew tomorrow. Now, that's a weekend. That is a great weekend there for sure, my friend. And I actually had the Himalayan out yesterday. I came home from work yesterday. Yesterday was the final countdown. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Final countdown. Yep. I put numbers on the wall. Every teacher does this, and I started at the first day of the last 9 weeks. So we know we have 45 days in that 9-week period. And you start to count down. Well, yesterday it hit 0. And we had a great pizza party with my students there. And for those students that watch these videos, if you didn't make it, that's very unfortunate for you that you didn't make it. But a lot of schools are doing high school testing, and our students couldn't all make it, and that was very, very sad. They work all year long to get to that one day, that pizza party, that final day of the year, and we enjoy having them in there. We have like pizzas, man. We had like all kind of different pizzas for them. We had all different kind of sodas or pop or whatever you call it, and bags and bags and bags and bags of potato chips. And a lot of the kids didn't make it. I stopped in one room and they actually had like 50 hoagies, 50 whole entire not eaten hoagies left over because they bought for all their kids, but all the kids couldn't make it, and that was very, very sad. So, but that does happen anyway. Dawn on the run. But I've something new coming next week, Dawn says. That's good. Something new. That might mean a new motorcycle. Bodine 52 said HDR is singing. We always have to get that HDR singing there in the morning. So yeah, so being it was our last day yesterday, I came home and I told Mrs. HDR, I said, man, I just want to go for a motorcycle ride just to unwind, just to get out there and just enjoy the bike and enjoy some fresh air after a hard-fought 9 months. I can say I ran my final grades and every one of my students passed. So that's a very positive note, right, to get them all to pass and get them to move on to the next year of their education. So, but with that said, I wanted to show you something here this morning. And if you haven't seen an Instagram already, maybe you have. But this is what I like to call the first look. Ready? Here we go. Come on, focus, focus. Like Bodine says, focus, Bodine, focus. Look at that. Pete's Motor Adventures. And you can have these stickers, this sticker. All you got to do is go to petesmotoventures.com and pledge $29.95 to his Alaskan trip fund. And then he will send you a sticker. Just pledge $29.95 to Pete's Motor Adventures, and he will send you a sticker out. And you know that you're putting gas in that tank of his in that beautiful Pan America as he travels his way to the Dalton Highway in Alaska. What an amazing trip. And I was talking to him the other day, and I said, Mrs. HR was wondering how many miles he's going to be going. And I believe he said 12,000 miles. Guys, 12,000 miles on an adventure bike is just unimaginable on my own. I just can't even imagine how you could do it. I just, I know he rode it to VAM last year, him and Bronco Ride. Brought their Pan Americas to VAM last year, and they made it, and they said it was not bad. It was pretty comfy, but 12,000 miles? I had my adventure bike out yesterday, and 40 miles, it's like, yeah, I don't know, because I want to do a 500-mile challenge coming up. That's why I got the new seat. That's why I'm trying to make it a little bit more comfy. I still got to order the crash bars. And yeah, I'm going to put highway pegs on just so I can move my feet around a little bit as I'm riding that 500-mile challenge, because you have to do it in 12 hours. I did take the bike on the highway yesterday, the Himalayan, and I had her up to 80. Now at 80, she's running at 5,000 RPM. She's right at redline. Redline's 6,000. So you had another 1,000 to go, but she was running at 80. Very comfortable riding at 70 miles per hour. I don't know if Anonymous Biker's in there, if he said his on the highway yet or not, but it's very comfortable. So to do that kind of challenge, the biggest thing I'm going to have is the, any aches and pains. So I have to prepare for that challenge. And that's going to be a lot of good times there for sure. So what has everybody been up to? Hopefully you've been getting out there and riding. These days are looking beautiful out there. I'm going today, bingo, or Be the Rider PA. Actually invited me out to Valley Harley Davidson today. They're having a cookout, so I think I'll probably go out there because I have to buy an oil filter because, yep, it's time to do my service on the Harley. So I got to go out there and get the oil filter. I got to pick up the oil from him. I do buy oil from Be the Rider PA. I don't know if he's in there yet this morning. I didn't see him. If you'd like to buy a case of oil, he sells AMSOIL. Hit him up there. He can definitely ship it to you anywhere in the world. He ships, and he will make you a nice deal on some AMSOIL, which runs really, really great on the bikes. I used to run in my transmission. I used to run something called Redline, and if you've never seen Redline, it's like twice as thick as the standard synthetic motor oil, and your transmission will run so much better, and you don't get as much of that clunking sound when you're shifting. So if you're trying to get rid of that clunk, 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 a Harley clunk, then put some AMSOIL transmission oil in. They have transmission, they have primary oil, which are two different, and then they got the engine oil. Now, these oils are all synthetic. They're all good for 10,000 miles, but I only run them for 5,000. Now, well, that's not totally true. I run the oil for 5,000 miles, and I change my primary and my transmission every other change, so they both get 10,000 miles out of their synthetic oil. So it works extremely well, and it really, really holds up. So, rode up to visit Moto Camp Nerd yesterday. 350-mile round trip. Paul said that was nice. Henry's in there this morning. Imagine how your jewels will feel after that ride. Yeah, I'm just curious to know how it's going to be, but it is a lot more comfortable with that higher seat. I can now move around on the bike. I can slide my butt back. And I'm going to be wearing these padded shorts that Bronco Rod sent myself. And yep, he sent the Bodine 52 also. When I remember to wear those things, it does make a huge difference. They've been really pounding those on Instagram right now. A different kind, a different set. And they claim it helps to relieve some of the back pain because you're getting the direct pressure off of your tailbone. So, you're getting your butt up a little bit more comfortable there. So, no, Bob, it's not diapers. That's not what it is at all. Because you actually wear these things, you should wear them over your underwear. Don't wear them as underwear. They're actually riding shorts, are what they are. But it is kind of weird when you first heard Colin talking about like these padded underwear or padded shorts until he sent them to us. And that was a nice gesture. He sent us a couple pair that he wasn't using anymore that he wore a couple times. And that's not true. He sent us brand new pairs, unopened. And so that was nice of him to do so. McStash said camping. I'm out camping again. McStash is a super duper camper now. They spend more time on the road than they spend at their home. And that's good. That's good to get out there. Padded drawers again, Pete Moto Adventure said. And I would tell you, Pete, I would buy a set for your trip. I mean, it may sound strange, but hey, bicyclists can't be wrong, right? The bicyclists in the world out there, they're all wearing these things, and they're very comfortable and very, very nice to have some padding, extra padding under your butt. Jarvis Biker said Bodine sent those as pre-worn souvenirs. There you go. Judy says going selling in fantastic weather, lovely Norwegian Bay this afternoon. HDR excited about own order older who's going. Yeah, let me bring that up. Rogue Glide Andy did get a hold of me this week. We talked a little bit, and we talked a little bit about own the Ohio Windy Nine meetup that him and Mr. McStash are putting together. And he wanted to be on the show, so that's something I'm looking into. I can tell you that I have talked to Pete. Pete's leaving on his trip. He'll be gone for a month. And I told Pete when he's gone, one Saturday morning, he's going to be on here talking to us all. And I'm just going to be hitting Pete up with some questions and stuff and letting him describe to you what he's learning about being on the road for 1 month. Think about that. Many of us go on motorcycle trips for a week, maybe even 2 weeks. But you go out there, you pack up your bags, you pack up everything you can on your motorcycle, and it's just you and your bike, and you have to have everything you need. I mean, you can buy stuff on the road, of course. And he's taking a tent, so he's also camping a little bit. He'll be in hotels a little bit. He'll be camping a little bit, because a month is a long time to be out on the road. So we're going to be getting some live and personal conversations with Pete as he's on the road. So he's going to find a good place that has a good hotel signal. Hopefully, we can coordinate this a little bit before, because I told Rogue Glide Andy the way I usually set this show up. This show runs on what's called OBS, or the Open Broadcast System, or Open Broadcast Software, however you want to say it. And I can't have a guest when I'm doing a show like this, so I'm going to have to go back and use StreamYard when I bring a guest in. So once I set this show up, this event, and I set it up as a scheduled event, I can't go into StreamYard and pull it into StreamYard. You have to set the scheduled event up in StreamYard, so I have to know ahead of time if I'm bringing a guest on. So I think, having some of you guys, I think helping me out with the show, and Bob's told me in the past 124 shows, how I can pull this off myself. And I do, and it's with the help of the chat room and being able to bring you guys into this show. But on the other hand, it would be nice to have somebody else with me, occasionally, just to talk to you about your motorcycle experiences and your riding, and what you see about motorcycling that really draws you to it. I think that's going to be huge. Bodine said, Pete better keep up on our Texas streams. Yeah, so Pete has agreed with us with our text stream, because we have five guys in our text stream, that he will text us and let us know where he's at. So before his videos drop, we should know about where he's at before his videos drop. So, and he'll be doing videos on the road as he's traveling, which, guys, if you ever do a motorcycle trip, now I've done quite a few of those. I can tell you that the greatest response is when you are posting every night on your vacation. The last motorcycle trip we went on, I didn't do that. I didn't post everything till I came back. And what happens is it kind of loses a little bit of its luxury, right? It loses something in translation when you come back and you're like, well, this is where I was, 3 weeks ago. But plus, when you're on the road, if you're posting and also posting stuff on Instagram, you can meet a lot of you great people, a lot of other great YouTubers, a lot of other great people that watch your YouTube channels across this great nation as you're traveling. Now I don't get into the fact, and myself and Miss HDR really watches, because we were telling people where we're going next, or where we were like that night. That got a little bit creepy. People trying to actually come find us at our hotels. So we started to take that and do it kind of like an Itchy Boots routine. Itchy Boots is like 2 or 3 days behind. We're at least 1 day behind. So if I tell you we stayed at the Sheraton Hotel in Fort Worth, Texas, that would have been the night before, not where we are currently. So it takes out a little bit of the creepiness of it from people trying to find you. Now, again, that's why you do the Instagram. The Instagram are people that are actually already following you. So that is nice, because you are a little bit more current on Instagram, and you can meet people on the road, and that's always a good time. So let me go through some of these chats here. Miss Dash said a portable washing machine. That's always a good thing to have. Plus, most campgrounds do have a washer and dryer. I know we used to camp a lot when our kids were younger. Matter of fact, last Saturday, we actually almost got the camping bug back in us, because Mrs. HDR's really good friend that she used to work with, her and her husband just bought a new camper. They actually bought, believe it or not, somehow they kind of accidentally bought a toy hauler where the back of the trailer actually drops down, and he's going to buy 2 electric bikes, and he can pull them right inside the trailer. Now, it's not like Windroad Therapies where she can sit there and you can see her bike behind her, because their trailer's smaller, but it still works perfectly well. And I told Miss HR we could theoretically pull the Harley into that trailer and be able to have a camper and a motorcycle with us at all times. So we talked about it all the way home. We were in Somerset, PA, so we had a long time to get home, and we talked about it all the way home. And we said we could look, but guys, we also have a boat in the backyard. So we're running out of real estate to put all this stuff, right? Remember we talked about stuff and storage units? So I'd hate to buy that camper and just have it sitting out back, and then I don't know where I'm going to put the boat. So that's a problem. But I'd really like to find a way to take a motorcycle and a boat. I guess I could buy like one of those toy hauler RV type campers, but And again, now you have a big another vehicle you got to take care of. So I don't know what the proper answer is. Maybe you guys have a better solution for that though. But Be the Rider PA is in this morning. Looks like summer is here. Yeah, we're gonna have some great weather, and as I just said, with school ending, they kind of timed that out right, man. They got that figured out. School ends, and then kind of the nice weather sets in, right? Of course, this morning it's 42 degrees here this morning. A little cold, but always a good time to stay warm with some coffee. Be the Rider PA said the $1 Million Highway next week. Photos are going to be are going to be breathing. Your photos are going to be breathing. I think you meant to say breathtaking. I'll help you out, buddy. Yeah. So the $1 Million Highway. I don't even know where that is. I don't even know where that highway is. Um, yeah. Bodine said people tracking you down like Mustache and Andy. Exactly. They can definitely track. And Bob knows that myself and Bodine 3 years ago now. Jeez, 3 years ago we were in Ohio together. Pulled in a gas station out in the middle of nowhere, and this younger man is pointing to me like he's pointing, and I'm on the headset with Bob. I said, Bob, do you have your pistol? And he said, I always have my pistol. It's in my waist. Why? I said, you might have to shoot this guy. I don't know who this guy is pointing at me. But they thought that we were like some rival motorcycle gang or something. And I'm like, Bob, and he's like, yeah. And then the guy comes here, he goes, oh my God, aren't you HDR? And it was so cool just to be recognized out on the road, and have him come over. So Bob did slide his gun back into his waistline, and luckily he didn't have to shoot anybody at the gas pumps. Bodine 50 Sue said, boat in the yard, don't they? Aren't they better in the water? Yeah, but our boat doesn't stay in the water. Our boat comes home with us every time we leave the water. And, I was thinking Monday's Memorial Day. I actually told Miss HR, I said we can go fishing on Monday because we're going to celebrate Memorial Day tomorrow with relatives and go to their house for a cookout, and all the good stuff. And you guys have seen that before because we did a fireside chat with the boys from their kitchen one time, or if you remember. And when we were done with the fireside chat with the boys, I went out and all the food was gone. Like they started cooking when the show started. I'm like, couldn't you start cooking at 7? Why'd you have to start cooking at 6 when I started the show? Because they knew I would eat too much, and they didn't want me to eat there. So on the way home, I had to get a burger at like McDonald's on the way home. So if that is even really a burger, I'm not sure. Let's see. Only 2 if you turn them inside out. 1 pair a week, Pete. Pete's Moto Adventure said, I will buy new underwear instead of washing old ones. Yeah, you could do that, Pete. I mean, I know you guys are going to stay at a few hotels also. I mean, it's not hard to throw your stuff in the wash and get it cleaned up there. Like when we travel, we only travel with 2 pair of blue jeans each. We both have a pair on, obviously, and we keep an extra pair in our luggage. And Mrs. HDR will actually do laundry on the road. And that's usually also a pool day for us, like stay at a nice hotel with a decent looking pool. And we'll hang out in the pool as the laundry is being washed. And that is also normally our 2-day stop. So when you travel, if you've never done any traveling before, long distance motorcycle riding, watch Adam Sandoval right now because I've been watching him daily, and the guy's getting to the point where he's exhausted, right? Because they're packing up, they're going from dealership to dealership to dealership. And it was kind of cool. He had a picture on Instagram that somebody took of him. He sat back in a chair and he just fell asleep at a dealership. He just passed out. So there are times when you're traveling, and Pete, I hope you listen to this too, that sometimes we do it all the time when we're on a motorcycle trip. Find a place you want to stay for 2 days and don't get on the bike. We take Ubers. We always use the Uber app, and we'll get around like a city or a tourist place. If you got to go to a populated place. We did it. We stayed in Memphis for 2 days. We did it one time. We stayed in Nashville for 2 days. So pick out a place you're going to stay for a couple days, and that way that gets your butt off the bike, get yourself rejuvenated, because the constant pounding riding on a motorcycle, guys, is harder than you think. It's not like kicking back in your car and turning the air conditioner on, listening to some tunes, and driving down the road eating gummy bears. It can be really, really hard. So I'm actually preparing. I like to prepare for a vacation. I'm going to prepare for own too. So I think starting. I don't know if it's going to start today or tomorrow. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a YouTube video every day is my goal. I would like to post a YouTube video every day this whole summer because I have the time now to do so. And those videos, the first part of that video series is going to be preparing for a motorcycle trip, a motorcycle touring trip. Because myself and Miss HR are definitely going to take a vacation this year on the motorcycle to a very undisclosed location. Nobody knows, and we don't want anybody to know about that. So until it happens, because we're like about 85% sure or 85% on the fence of what we're doing. But I know I have to prepare, guys. I got to get my muscles in shape. I got to get my knees, back in shape. So I have to do some exercises. And I'm going to show you on these videos the exercises I'll be doing. They're not strenuous exercises. I'm not going to the gym and lifting, 500-pound bench pressing or anything. Stuff that any of us can do. If you're an 80-year-old man, you'll be able to do these exercises. But you're going to get your body toned up and get in shape. And that's what you want to do before you go on a ride. We are going to try to do the $1 million on the way back, Pete says. Going through some of these. Ricky KM, good morning. It looks like a great day for a ride, so I'm riding towards Bodine 52's area. Zena Lake Bob. Yep, Bob will definitely meet you there for sure, he said. Let's see, Bodine 52. Bring it, Ricky. Message me up for a ride, so he'll go out there and meet you. That's great to do that. Peace Motor Ventures. It's cheaper to buy new than to stop and wash when you look at having to get deterred. Yeah, people, what are you going to do for jeans and stuff? You're just going to throw those away too on the road and buy new ones? Now, Pete does have a very good way of using his riding pants. He taught me last year. And I started doing it now that I have riding pants, but I won't wear those on the Harley. But you can actually ride with riding pants on with shorts under it. And it is so nice because when you get somewhere, you take your riding pants off and you're comfortable, right? Throw your tennis shoes on out of your bag and you can do some walking around some trails or do some sightseeing. So that is a really good way to do that. WS Keys on 3 said, if I had a toy hauler, what I would save on lodging, I'd spend on gas. That is something to think about for sure. Texting Pete's wife his last comment. Pete's Motors Adventures. So she will laugh, Bob. I do all the laundry. I'm a kept man. Pete's Motor Adventures. And guys, I've told you before, I don't really know where the laundry's at in the house. I don't know where the washer and dryer is kept at. So I don't really go in there. That's not my domain. That's more of, my dad raised me a certain way, guys. And, well, no, let me go back. Let me back up and tell you. When we had years ago, okay, we've been in this house 20 years. Before that, we had an apartment together when myself and Miss HR first got together. And she asked me to throw some towels in. So I threw some towels in. I thought, well, if I throw some towels in, why don't I throw like my underwear, okay, in with that? And they were the old whitey tighties. Remember those? Remember the whitey tighties? Well, they came out. It turns out that the towels did some bleeding or something. They were like red towels. And my underwear came out pink. So we had to throw all those away. So I am banned for ever doing laundry again. I don't do laundry. I'll do dishes. I don't mind washing. You guys know I love to cook, but I don't do laundry. I don't really know where the vacuum cleaner is kept. It's somewhere in the house because I know she uses it. Dusting stuff, again, I don't know where the dusting stuff is or the rags. That's just me. That's how I was raised. When I was being raised, my dad, I was raised with two sisters, and my sister might remember this. Debbie might remember this. My mother one time said, hey, young HDR, it's your turn. Get out there and wash them dishes. My dad jumped out of his recliner. He came out to the kitchen and he said, listen, my son will not do dishes. That's for the girls. We have two girls. He said, he told my mother, he said, you have two girls to help you in this house. My son does not do housework. He said, My son will go out and mow the grass. He'll go out and cut a tree down. But today my son is going fishing with me. And then my youngest sister has to go fishing. And my dad said, no, because girls don't fish. You can't go fishing with us. It's a boy thing. So that's the way my dad was. Was he sexist? Probably. But that's the way older guys were back then. But I was raised that way. So I shouldn't really know where the laundry's at. You shouldn't know where the vacuum cleaner's at. So Pete, I know you're a kept man. You said, hire yourself a cleaning crew. Okay. Get one of those women that come in that clean up, and tidy your house up. And yeah, that's what you should have. But that's just my take on it. Take Mary to Ireland, Pete said. Pete, right now the flights are cost so much that we're not flying anywhere, buddy. We looked at every possible vacation this year. We even had it down to we were going to go on a cruise out of Baltimore because you can drive to Baltimore from our house. And it's probably, I don't know, 6, 7 hours to get to Baltimore, 5, I don't know. Just to save on the flights. But everywhere that those cruise ships go, we've already been on those cruises because we've been on 4 cruises and we've been all the way through the Bahamas and all that part of the world. She wanted to go to Alaska out of the state of Washington. But the flight would have cost more than the 7-day cruise. Now I've seen these airlines are charging you for every bag, even a carry-on bag. They're weighing it. They're charging you for that carry-on bag. The guy in the news the other morning said that the luggage ticket or the luggage price for you to take your luggage now and check your luggage cost more than the airline ticket. And that's just, there's no wonder companies fail, right? No wonder airlines are going to flunk out and fail. I mean, you do have your certain people in the world that's going to pay whatever to do whatever for whatever reason. But we both agreed that there is so much beauty to see in the U.S. that we haven't seen yet that we're going to just plan our trip around a motorcycle who's very gas efficient, so that's what we're going to be doing though. Motor Ramley, good morning to you. You said Adam is doing destinations with deadlines. Not a great way to take a trip. Take a long ride, but take your time. And Motor Ramley, you are so right. Harley Girl, good morning from Canada. Nice to have you on board there. The real Jackie boys in there. Dawn on the Run, nice to have you on board there with us. Okay, so Pete said he's only bringing a pair of jeans. Okay, great. WS Keys on 3, who cares what color underwear is? Only you and Mrs. HDR would know. That is true, unless you get in a car wreck and they're like, why does this guy have pink underwear on? I don't know why this guy has pink. Uh-oh. So yeah, I don't think I have a chance. When I was growing up, chores had no gender. Paul, you must be like 25 years old. When I grew up, my dad had gender-specific stuff to do, and that's just the way my dad was. There's nothing. I'm looking at a picture of him right now on the wall up there, and I tell you what, he just had a certain. My dad, when my dad and mother finally did get divorced, when I was about 16 years of age, my dad moved into an apartment, and it was very sad. And the sad part about that was he wasn't the type of man that's going to go out to eat. He just didn't like to go out to eat. Maybe he liked Long John Silver's for fish, and he liked McDonald's, the Big Mac, right? He would have a Big Mac attack, he would tell you. But my dad couldn't cook because my mother did everything for my father. Everything. Mrs. HDR, it's funny because they said people get together and they marry together people that have like-minded parents. Her parents were the same way. Her dad didn't do anything around the house, but her mother took care of her dad every day of his life. Made him special dinners, brewed his coffee for him. Now, he would come out and get a cup of coffee on his own. My dad would do that too. And I don't even know if my dad ever brewed coffee. I don't know if he ever put coffee together to turn it on. But anyway, so they got divorced, and it was kind of sad. I'd go over to visit my dad at his apartment, and you could either have hot dogs in a pot of water, because he knew I'd do that, or you could have soup out of a can. That was his extent of cooking. He couldn't cook anything. So my dad lived on sandwiches for years, like bologna, with cheese. He loved cheese, American cheese sandwiches with mustard. I didn't eat those. And that's a funny thing. We go fishing and stuff. Even when I got older, he'd go, "Hey, HDR, do you want a sandwich?" I'd be like, "Yeah, Dad, what you got?" I got some cheese and mustard, cause he knew I wouldn't eat them. So he knew they were his sandwiches, right? But yeah, that's very very sad. So that's why I do till this day love to cook. I spent all the time in the kitchen with my mother. My two sisters would run away from the kitchen, and they wouldn't cook with my mother. But I spent every moment with my mom, chopping, cutting, learning how to cook, learning how to take temperatures and stuff. Learning those secret family recipes, and that's why till this day I love to cook. Now, Miss A. Sure will tell you I'm not the greatest cleaner upper. Some days, but I don't know. That's just the way it is. So is it gender specific? I don't know. It doesn't make me a male chauvinist. It's just the way I was raised, and that's not a bad thing. The real Jackie Boy said, Luella and I will talk to you about Ireland when you see you at OWN. Okay, that would be great. Yeah, I'd like to talk to you about that. Mrs. HDR is not going to the Ohio meetup, and the reason she's not is because we're expecting a new grandbaby. That week is when she's due. So she has no plans on coming with me for sure. So it's just me and the boys in a house of party. So I'm sure we're going to have a blast. We do every time we get together. And it's amazing. It's amazing how much beer you can put on a Harley bagger, you know, between the saddlebags and the tour pack. And we do drink a little. We have a little adult beverages when we're together, but it's a good time for sure. Go Amtrak. So you could, well, yeah, Amtrak could be a way to go. I heard that's pretty cost effective. But I also heard we met a guy that took Amtrak from Ohio to Colorado. He didn't take a shower for 5 days because he said that with Amtrak you can take those long trips and you don't have to pay for a bunk in a shower room. You can just pay for what he called the classic car or something, where you basically get a seat, but there's nowhere to wash. So for 4 or 5 days, he didn't take a shot. Like nobody in this car did. I said, had to stink in there pretty bad. He goes, but after a while, everybody stinks so bad that you don't notice it. So be leery of the train rides. And if you do go on a train, pay for the bunk car. We would definitely pay for a bunk car with a shower if we're going across the country. So WS Keys on 3 says, don't think about the car wreck. I don't know what we're talking about there. Plumber's butt. Remember the Jerry Reed song? She got a gold mine and I got the shaft. Yeah, I guess that's true. WS Keys on 3. Motor rambling. Medical professions. We'll know instantly. That dude doesn't know how to do the laundry. You're right. They would know for sure. Viper 6, good morning. Glad you made it on board there. Viper 6 said, my dad taught me how to build and fix things, and my mom taught me how to cook and sew. I'm grateful for what they did. I do most of the cooking. Yeah, so that's a good thing. And lately, Mrs. HDR has been doing the bulk of the cooking, man. She's been, whew, guys, I don't know if you follow Instagram recipes, but let me tell you what. Mrs. HDR has cooked pretty much every one that's come across Instagram, and they are really, really good and tasty. And she was looking this morning. She said, "Oh my God, you went from a large to double XL." I was like, "Must be like cooking." Oh, because McStash's shirt didn't fit me. When I got McStash's shirt sent to me, or when he gave this to me at a motorcycle show. We were in Ohio, and he handed me his motorcycle shirt. I wore a large, so this is a large. But now let's just say I may be on the 2XL side of t-shirts. Just maybe. But, so yeah, I got a long way to go to get into shape for these trips. And I just got to do it. I got to push it. And I said, I don't really eat a lot. She said, maybe it's the beer. And I said, I don't drink beer. I mean, not a lot. So, my doctor wants to define a lot. Yeah, Dad always made the popcorn, Debbie said. He did make popcorn. And remember, guys, that was time when popcorn wasn't in a bag. We didn't have a microwave when I grew up until later in life. My dad would make popcorn in a pot, put put oil in it, and he would shake it. He would shake the pot, right? So, and he would make a batch of popcorn. So he did like to do that. 4 years ago, McStash said, yeah, so this shirt, 4 years ago, I was a large. Now I'm a 2XL. So that's not good. That's not good at all. Viper 6 says the Chinese 2XL is a North American large. Oh, there you go. Thanks. Thanks, Viper 6. I'll let her know that when I get downstairs. I got on the scale last week, and I'm always scared to look down the scale, but when I got on, it went, tilt, tilt, get off of me, tilt, tilt. I was like, so I just stepped off. I didn't even look how much I weigh now. So, but it's all fun and games until you get too big that the motorcycle can't pull you around anymore. You got to readjust your shocks, right? Readjust your sag on your shocks. Oh, guys, nobody told me about the 30-minute mark here. So hold on. We're going to play this 30-minute mark here. Let's see.
Is that coffee done yet?
Almost. Hold on here. I don't know if I'm crying because coffee with HDR is coming on or if it's the smoke from the fire. But yeah, it'll be done here in a minute.
Good, because I got to have a couple of cups of coffee before I start watching Morning Coffee with HDR.
Huh? I agree with that one.
Good morning, folks. Road Glide Andy, Mrs. Road Glide Andy,
Mrs. McStash.
Mr. McStash.
and you're watching Coffee with HDR.
All right, I want to thank that lovely crew there again for sending me those intros. They were out camping together. I think it was last Saturday in the rain, and they put those videos together for me and sent those in. So I do appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. Great work there for sure. It's always nice to have the intro videos come in. You take a few minutes there and do an intro video and send those in to me, and that's a wonderful thing. So I've been looking through some of these, and Harley Girl says beach belly or beer belly or beach belly is the question. Well, on the beach right now, I probably like a beached well, so I wouldn't go on the beach with a pair of trunks on right now with no t-shirt on. Not a good idea. Somebody said wear overalls, then nobody knows. That's true. Or a big old fluffy sweatshirt. Nobody can tell then either. So my thing is not so much just the great intro. Larry said, yeah, Larry, thank you. And well, thanks to the guys and the girls there that did the intro. It was nice to have their wives on there also with that intro. And, they're all sitting around that campfire and saying good morning. So it's really cool when people think about this show when they're out doing something else and you're on the road or you're out in the garage with your bikes. You're like, I'm going to do a little Coffee with HDR intro. And that's great. It's a nice feeling that you're putting your time into the show. So I do appreciate everybody that does those intros. Serenity Cowboy does Under Armour make overalls? There you go. I don't know. I don't think they do. Instant HP increase for any motorcycle to lose weight. Oh yeah, horsepower increase. Skell said one at a time, Mr. McStash. That is a good. That's probably what it was saying when it was telling me to get off. So I don't. It's not really so much the weight that I'm concerned with. It's the body. Because I'm telling you, we've done over the road trips. Our longest was when we went out to Sturgis and then into the Devil's Tower, and I think that's in Wyoming. And yeah, because we stayed at a place called Sundance, Wyoming. Guys, if you ever travel, go to the little town of Sundance, Wyoming. It's a population of like 500 people. It is absolutely the friendliest town you've ever want to dream of getting into. And so you're past Sturgis a little bit. You can still make it to Sturgis from Sundance, Wyoming in a reasonable amount of time if you wanted. But it's past Sturgis. And just the greatest hospitality of people. The whole town, man. You walk into a restaurant, and they're not really restaurants. They're diners. There's no chains there. It's not big enough for a chain restaurant to want to be there. But that was our longest, I think, trip. Outside of going to Maine, that big loop might have been close to the time. No, not really, because Maine we did it in 7 days. We went up and back in 7 days. At that time, I had a job where I only had 7 day vacation, and I couldn't go any further. But when we went out to Sturgis in Wyoming, I had a job where I had like 6 weeks of vacation built up. So we took 2 weeks and go out there. And I could tell you that it takes a toll on your body. And Pete, I could tell you too, this is a word of advice for somebody that's done a lot of over the road motorcycle long distance trips. If your brain, if your head starts getting a little foggy and you think you can push on, don't. Simply don't. Just pull off the next exit, find the next hotel that has great air conditioning, and just stay. I tried to push on, and I almost got us killed. Miss HDR was on the back, and this was on our old Harley. This was on our 2011 Electric Glide. I'm going down the highway, and as I was going down the highway, she could feel the bike leaning over towards the tractor trailer trucks. And the people that we were with, they were on a trike behind us, and they could see the bike going over to the center line, over to where the tractor trailer trucks are. I could have legitimately killed us, but I felt in my head like I had to make it to Ohio. We were coming home. So we're trying to make it to Ohio. She was pulling my belt, and as she pulled my belt, she said it was like steering a horse. She'd pull the belt, and somehow like the bike would start leaning back away from the center line. She finally smacks me on the back of the helmet. Hey, I said, what? She goes, you have to get off the next exit. We are done for the day. I was having not heat stroke, heat exhaustion, where the body just can't do any more. And you're trying to push because you have that point. So like you were saying that you guys were saying about Adam Sandoval having those places where he has to be at certain times, that is hard because you're riding hard. They've missed lunches because they've been in restaurants where they ordered and like the food didn't get there in time because they got 20 or 30 people with them. And they had to just leave and not eat to make it to the next place. I think maybe the coordination with the Harley dealers is they need to have food at the dealers or at least a food truck or something for when that convoy gets there, they can eat there, right? That would be a win-win situation. But I mean, he's doing a great job, but it is a push. When we travel, we have no time restraints. We don't pre-book anything. Never pre-book a hotel when you're on a trip, a long motorcycle trip. Like own is one thing. We're going to own. We know we rented a house, right? So that's a given. But we know we're just going, 4 to 5 hours from our houses. So that's okay. But the biggest thing I'm saying here is make sure when you're traveling, Mrs. HDR will not book a hotel until we're no more than 25 to 50 miles from the final stop. Then we'll stop. We'll have something to drink, and she'll be on her phone on hotels.com. That's the only app we use. They have a chain of, 10 different hotels you can pick from. The reason we use that is after every 5 stays, we get a free night. So that helps with the total cost on the road. But yeah, never pre-book. We did that one time, and we almost bit the bullet because it was I don't know if it was $400 or $300, something like that for the night. It was expensive, and the reason was we were going down to see Saddle Tramp. And this was just a couple years ago when we left the guys in Tennessee, the guys and girls in Tennessee. We veered off because we had an extra week's vacation. They did not. They had to beat feet back home to go back to work. So we were traveling, and we thought we were going to see Saddle Tramp. I instant messaged him on Instant Messenger. We knew what hotel he wanted us to stay at. It was like $300 a night. We woke up the next morning, and the whole way there, we would have been in a typhoon. I mean, it was raining cats and dogs and dogs and cats and cats and dogs. Miss HR already booked a hotel because we knew at that point we had a destination we had to get to meet Saddle Tramp, to hang out with him for a day. Well, it didn't work out for us. Luckily, Hotel.com says there's nobody who works there, or there's no phone number for it. It's all online chat stuff. And they said there was no cancellations. So I couldn't cancel, right? I wouldn't have got my money back. So I called the hotel up. We found the number, and I called the hotel. I've got this very nice girl at the desk. And I was talking to her underneath this awning at the gas station because it was pouring down rain. And I explained to her, look, we are on a motorcycle trip, and we are looking at running into a typhoon to get to you. There's no way that that's going to be safe for us to come there. Is there any way, we know there might be a cancellation fee, But is there any way that you can look at our reservation and see if you can't cancel that or sell to somebody else? She got back on the phone. She said, well, Mr. HDR, she said, you're in luck. And I said, what's that, ma'am? She goes, it's just funny that reservation you had just disappeared. It's not even on our computer anymore. I don't even know where it went. I was blown away by her hospitality. That's somebody that is working in the hospitality field that knows how to take care of people. And she said, besides that, Mr. HDR, she said, my dad rides motorcycles, and I wouldn't want him riding in a Typhoon. It wouldn't be safe for you to come here. She said, but maybe another time you can come here and enjoy our beautiful hotel and have a nice stay. And I said, I wanted to send her like a gift card because she went out of her way to make that reservation just disappear. So we didn't get charged anything. So be careful if you book ahead of time because you might not make it. That's what I'm telling you. There's a lot of variations when you're riding a motorcycle. Pete's Motor Adventure says, as someone in healthcare, weight is a silent killer. Most of your problems will disappear being at a lower weight. You're absolutely right. That's absolutely true. Finally got on, finished up the rig, checks and ready to go. Good, Chuck. Nice to know you're ready to go there for sure. Let's see. WS keys on 3. Also, do not use your cruise control while fatigued. You're right. You don't want that bike constantly driving itself down the road. Now, use your cruise control to give your right hand a break. Get your arm stretched out there a little bit or whatever. When I first got a cruise control, I talked to a guy that has cruise control, and I said, oh, man, you use it all the time on the highway, right? And he goes, no, no, no. Cruise control is nice to give you a break. It's not meant to just kick on like a car and just, like in the car, I sit back, I put my feet under me, and I just like drive, like in a trance. On a motorcycle, you don't want to be in a trance. You want to be in constant control of your bike. So be careful of the cruise control. Okay, it's a good tool, but not to be used like a car's cruise control. So that's a good point, WS Keys on 3s. Thanks for bringing that up. On one trip, we were in the middle of Nebraska, nowhere. We just stopped at the side of the road for a break. And you're right, Pete. Always keep, and I taught Bodine this trick. He was like blown away, and it's such a simple trick. When you're staying anywhere, and I know last year when we stayed in Ohio, we all did it. Take your water bottles, put them in the freezer. Freeze your water bottles. When you're going to leave, just take that water bottle out, put it in a plastic bag so it's going to sweat, and just shove that baby in your saddlebag. That way, when you're out all day, you have nice cold water to drink. You have a good, cold, refreshing drink. You don't have to find a store because you might not find a store. So, and when we travel on trips, myself and Miss HDR, we keep 2 of the 16-ounce bottles, the bigger bottles, 16 or 18-ounce bottles. And matter of fact, they're downstairs. They're in the freezer right now. So if I go on like a day cruise, I'm going to go somewhere and I know I'm going to go from like here to Ohio Pow or here to, the Amish country. I'll take one of those frozen bottles of water. That way when I stop, I don't have to get off the bike and run into the store and get a bottle of water. I just pop that baby open, man. It's ice cold, right? Again, you don't want to drink a bunch of pop when you're out on the road traveling. You don't want to drink a bunch of soda. Because, it's just not good to replenish your body with soda, right? Powerades are good. Any of that kind of stuff, any kind of stuff that's going to rebuild your body back out. So, let's see here. That was a good point, though. Mr. Stash said, but Harley has no stakes in his ride. Here doing all the more. And I understand that, Mr. McStash. I understand that Harley doesn't, but the dealerships know that he's coming. And all they have to do is call around and get a food truck. And the food truck would be more than happy. Like, hey, we're going to have like 250 people showing up at this dealership today. Would you like to bring your food truck over? Well, maybe I would. So, and they don't charge anything to come park in your lot. So that would just be a way to be able to make sure everybody eats there. So I use Harley Girl says, I use a Yeti. Keeps my water cold all day long. That's another good way to do it. Smarty Cowboy said, I never use my cruise control when it rains, bike or car. That's a good tip. Pete Motors Venture, long trips, always stay away from alcohol. And you're right, Pete. You don't drink alcohol. Now, the way we do it, myself and Miss HDR, we congratulate ourselves each day, after being on the road all day. When you get to the hotel, we'll find a place around there somewhere to to buy a couple, to have a couple beers with our dinner, just to celebrate, a good day of riding. But not when you're riding. Don't stop for lunch and drink a tall one at lunchtime, because that's going to be hard on you too, and it's going to make you drowsy. No matter if you have a tolerance or not. I've been riding with guys for years, and they're like, "Oh man, I could drink a case a weekend. I could drink 2 or 3 beers on the road. I'll be just fine." But the beer on the road and it's 90 degrees outside, and you got a helmet on your head, baking your brain. They're probably not the best combination of things to happen. So you gotta be really careful. I totally agree with you, Harley Day Rider, on that HCAV Traveler. Thank you. I do. I mean, that's just the way it is. Um, Toby said, I just dropped my son off for his graduation ceremony. Bittersweet. Yeah, we just graduated our kids 2 weeks ago at our school. And I tell you what, sitting there, and the teachers, right, we go down, we sit with our kids, because when we go up on the stage and we get to hand them their diploma, we get to announce their name and shake their hand. And it it's a bittersweet thing. And I talk to other teachers, because we're with these kids, and I tell the kids this: 2.5 hours a day, every day. Not like a high school teachers with the kid normally 40 minutes, and they go and they get another group of kids in. These kids are more like family to us. It's like we're raising kids again, right? And we get to watch them grow from a ninth grader all the way to 12th. You get to watch them mature. We get to hear. The biggest thing for me, the biggest joy, is when a kid comes in, "Hey, Mr. HDR," and he gives me a high five or a fist bump. He goes, "I got my driver's license." And they're just so proud of that and so happy. And that's one of my greatest things, because they want to share their joys with us. There are other sides. The other day I had to talk to a young man where his girlfriend broke up with him, so we have to share the devastation with them too, the heartbreaks. 2 days before prom, and your girlfriend breaks up with you, that you bought her a ticket and you already have a corsage for her. Those are heartbreaks. And when these young men look at you, and they have a tear in their eye, and you have to explain to them that, buddy, there's going to be a lot of heartbreaks in your life. That's just the way life is. Sooner or later, you're going to find that right person, settle down, and you're going to be happy as can be. I said, then you're going to have kids, and you might not be so happy anymore. Then those kids will grow up and leave, and then you're going to be sad again. But then you're going to bring grandkids over, and then you're going to be happy and joyous, right? Grandkids are the best, man. If you don't have any grandkids, put an order in with your kids. Tell your kids, go out there and have some grandkids, because they are going to be the most joy you've ever had in your life. Probably even more joy than a motorcycle. Who said that? Who said grandkids would be more joy than a motorcycle? That guy's crazy. I should smack him down. Anyway, but yeah, congratulations, Toby. It's a wonderful thing to see your child graduate there, for sure. And nice to have them get to that point. Uh, but then you have another one, right? Send them off to college as soon as they're done. And I always told my kids, "Where should we go to college?" I said, "The furthest point possible from here," right? You don't want to come home every weekend. You don't want to come home every evening for dinner. You don't want to bring your clothes home for mommy to wash. You need to go far away to college, right? Hawaii U, Alaska University, Japanese University, the University of, Korea. Just fly home for the holidays. That'd be nice. We'll love to have you. Next thing you do when your kids go to college, if they go off to college, turn their bedroom into HDR studio. See that? That's just where the studio came from. It used to be one of the kids' bedrooms. Then when they come home, they're like, "Where's my bed?" It's like, you can sleep on the desk if you want, but it's now a studio. So just saying. All right, so other than that, we are going to wrap this week up. We had a lot to talk about this week, guys, and I hope I gave you some great travel tips. I'm going to be doing some more coming up as I prepare for my vacation this year, my trip. And I'm going to start those videos out by just showing you some simple workouts. So I know if you're not into it and don't watch them, it's okay. If you're middle-aged or older, you need to watch these and start taking care of yourself, okay? The last thing you want to do is wake up at 50 years old and die, right? We don't want to do that. So we got to get more into shape, especially, honestly, if you're going to do any kind of motorcycle, if you're going to own, if you're going to VAM, you want to get your body in shape and get yourself ready for the riding season, because motorcyclists and motorcycle riding takes a toll on our body. I don't care what kind of seat you have, what kind of handlebars, what kind of shocks. It's way different than taking a vacation in a car. So, Smarty Cowboys, everybody hit that like button. We got 12 likes. We ended up with 80 viewers today, but only 12 likes. I don't understand it. Hit the thumbs up. This show also does really, really well in the reruns. And I very much appreciate all you people that couldn't be here live with us. Thank you so much for watching this show and sending me the great comments in. And I always get great feedback every week. So the basic thing is get out there and ride. It's beautiful here. Hopefully it's going to be beautiful where you are soon. Summer is here. Riding season is live and well. And if you're in your cage, I don't even have to tell you, watch out for motorcyclists because you are one. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for watching. And until next Saturday, remember, ride your own ride and you be safe out there. Harley Day Rider, your girlfriend HDR, will be down and out in the beautiful HDR studios here in southwestern Pennsylvania. See you, everybody.